Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time you find yourself listening to Hannah Shenanigans, and welcome to the next series. Thank you if you watched all of the four of my first series, which was the Solitude series. So I will be presenting topics in series format. A series will usually have four, a maximum of six episodes. And if you've got any questions, series are linked to some of the activities that I do in business, but particularly when it comes to retreats. So if you want a solitude retreat, let me know. If you want an adventure retreat, let me know. Or whatever other topic that I'm going to be doing as a series, just let me know. This is for the retreats. So Hannah Shenanigans, of course, it's about me. I will be sharing stories about my life and opinions and views. And if you've got other views that you might not agree with or that you agree with strongly and you want to share, please don't forget after this video to like, share, and subscribe. Now, we are going into adventure. If you know me personally, then you know I love a good adventure. You have either called me brave before or you have been shocked at some of the things that I've done. But yes, life should be an adventure. We only have one. And people say that a lot, but do they really live life as an adventure? And in this series, that's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at what is an adventure? Is it chosen or enforced? What is the purpose of difficulties on adventures and how you can be embracing it all? Now, this is one of my favorite descriptions of adventure. So this one says adventure is something most likely very, very bad idea, but it sounds like it would be exciting. So you try it. Anyway, does this describe you as a person in general? Definitely describes me. I know for sure I have taken some wild and crazy ideas in other people's minds, but because it felt exciting, I did it. Like, I like living adventurously. But the dictionary definition is an unusual and exciting or daring experience, or something that probably is not in your comfort zone. It's going to take you away from all your comforts and what you know. And this is quite an interesting picture on this, because this is a depiction of the border between Kenya and Tanzania, and it was taken on one of my adventures. Actually, the adventure series most probably will have pictures of me on my various adventures. So if you would like, for example, I'll already share this, that if you want to have an adventure in East Africa and you're not in East Africa, hey, contact me. I can plan a retreat in Arusha or in Nairobi. Let's talk about it. So, are adventures chosen or enforced? So, we're talking about adventure in life. Being born is a whole adventure, right? I'm sure some of you, if you ask your moms or your dads or whoever is alive to tell you the story of the day you were born or the process of you coming into this world, it was already an adventure. It was exciting, it was daring for you to be part of this world. It's you dared be in existence right now. So there are some adventures that you've chosen yourself and some that are enforced. Your being alive is an enforced adventure. You probably didn't choose it, and it will have difficulties of one way or another. And we all have different difficulties. And yet we all think, well, not all of us, but some of us do think that our adventures were harder than other people's adventures. I know I grew up a lot of the times just thinking I had the hardest life. But then I would then also think of other people. Then I'd be like, yeah, maybe not. I wasn't born in a war-torn country. Yes, my country, Zimbabwe, has got some real serious issues when it comes to economics and politics. But socially speaking, that's a fun country to be. I'm telling you, if you want to do an adventure in Zimbabwe and you have not, get in touch with me. Believe me, I can hook you up some interesting adventures in Zimbabwe. But there were other difficulties that I faced along the way. The loss of parents, the loss of siblings, the loss of relatives. By the time I reached 13, I probably had been to more than 5 funerals. And of course, of very close people, very close to me. And those difficulties, I didn't know that, like, what was the purpose of it? Especially in my teenagehood, now when I had to deal with growing up with the absence of parents and just thinking, why was I left behind? Which was a very big, big story, like in my heart. Never got to ask people, but I mean, in boarding school, of course, sometimes I would wake up with my eyes very puffy, especially first year. Form one was really hard for me without my mother, without my father. And yeah, you're surrounded with people talking about their parents all the time, visiting Sundays. People are happy to see their parents, and you're talking about aunts and uncles. It just is, it's a very different ballgame. It was very difficult for me, but I never really talked about that. Um, and yes, so as life went on, you sort of absorb some of these difficulties. Some people, of course, wear their difficulties on the sleeve, and their traumas, and it's easy to talk about. I'm now almost 40, and only now can I openly say some of the things that I can say now. And of course, I'm talking on a platform like YouTube. It's an open platform. Strangers are going to be interested in hearing or sharing the story. But people close to me might not really want to hear this or might wonder why I never talked about it. It's because it's hard. It was part of the difficulties. Life has so many difficulties, but do they have purpose? Sometimes I think they don't, let me be honest. Sometimes I just think, it's all pointless. I remember as a child thinking, yo, we are toys on a board. Like, I love board games. And I would imagine God is toying with us. Like, we're just little things on in a like on a monopoly board. We are in that house, every one of us. And I don't know, I think, of course, people say difficulties make character, they make you stronger, kinder. It all depends, really. There's some people who've had difficulties in life and they become horrible as adults, and some people become better. I don't know. What do you think? What is the purpose of difficulties? Of course, empathy is one of them. For me, I think I can empathize with anyone who has been through, who has suffered loss in terms of death, anyone who has grown up with separated parents. So when it comes to those things, I feel like I really am empathetic because I've been through it. I understand from the heart. And some of the difficulties have made me such a strong person, um, that very few things faze me. Uh, but at the same time, is it necessary? Are the difficulties that necessary? I'll never be able to really fully understand and answer this question. I know some people think they can, and I've heard quite a number of motivational speakers talking about the purpose of difficulties is to get you through and to make you this warrior person. But as a person who's been through a lot of difficulty, sometimes I wonder, is it necessary? But what I know is I might not be able to answer the question of is it necessary, but I know it's important to embrace it all. This was a very cold day. I'm wearing the same jacket. Hey, check it out. I love this jacket. In Swakopmund, Namibia, at the Atlantic Ocean. And oh, it was so cold. I didn't think we would go to the beach. I just took off my shoes and I just walked into the water. I loved it. And then this friend of mine captured me screaming. It was quite an interesting thing, but I think it's good to embrace it. A lot of times people want to understand why things happen to them. It's not always that you're going to understand why things happen, but it's important to embrace and move on. It's important to understand that life happens to us. Not to, sorry, for us. Life happens for us. Whatever is happening, it's for our benefit. And we're part of a bigger picture that we will only understand in retrospect. It's one of the things I say to friends, families, clients. Life is understood in retrospect, and there's nothing we can do about it. Very few people, like, we do vision boards, we do plan for our lives. Some of the things come to pass, some of them don't. But one thing for sure, understanding of the purpose of life and what happens it usually happens right at the end, in retrospect. And some of the stuff actually we might never get to understand, and that's okay. It might be just for other people to understand, not for us. Maybe your great grandchildren or great grand nieces and nephews will understand why you had to go through some things for them, but you might not understand it in your own lifetime. But it's good to embrace it all, to live this life as adventurously as you can, and make the best out of it. That said, everything that I've said on this podcast today, living adventurously, always, each and every word has come from my heart, and I hope it gets to yours. Love and light, my sweethearts. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.